So you're saying Trump supporters don't cuss?
Saying what now?
You saying Trump supporters don't cuss?
No, I'm not.
I have a flag on my shirt.
No,
like a sailor, but
I know
it's appropriate.
Why is not? It's not appropriate on the flag.
There's women and children up there.
Protect the women and the children.
Yeah.
Okay. And Trump's in the Epstein files, and he's a sexual abuser.
No, I didn't.
Our guy Gunny is up to his usual antics.
We got two drunks, one running the military, the
Yep.
other one the FBI.
Yeah.
Joke.
I think we're on the same page. We as Marines and military service members, we took an oath that never expires to uphold the Constitution, correct? Okay, gotcha. Just making sure we're all on the same page, because there's a lot of people out there that don't get that.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
And now Gunny doesn't mess around when it comes to veterans, especially when they support the draft dodger in office.
What do you think about Trump calling veterans suckers and losers? Because you have a veterans before illegals. What do you think about that?
Proven that he never said
Where?
that.
Show me a source. Tell me a source where that was.
Show me a source
Yeah.
that he did it.
Well, because I believe a general that says it. That's my source.
Yeah, and I believe the rest of the people in the
Of course
office
you
that
do.
said that-
You know why? Because Trump says fake news, and you dumbass believe it. You're just stupid.
Feel free to disagree with Gunny's approach all you like, but the fact of the matter is that this is where our country is at right now with these clowns leading the charge.
How much did it cost American taxpayers in terms of the strike to the Iranian school where kids were killed? Do you have that number? In terms of the missiles we used?
As I've said, that unfortunate situation remains under investigation.
You don't know how much it
15-6
costs the
investigation, but I
taxpayer?
wouldn't tie a cost to that, to anything.
It's a reasonable question, no, sir? I mean, our taxpayer money was going there. Do you know how much it will cost Americans in terms of their increased cost in gas and food over the next year because of the Iran war?
I would simply ask you what the cost is of an Iranian nuclear bomb.
I'm going to give you that
I
opportunity.
would simply ask you what the...
Yeah,
you're
but
playing gotcha
sir,
questions about
no, it's
domestic
not.
things. I'm not...
You're saying it's a gotcha question to ask what it's going to be in terms of the increased
Why
cost
won't
of
you
gas
answer what
and
it costs to prevent Iran from getting a nuclear bomb?
I give you that, sir. But let me...
What
if you
would
could
it
just
cost?
ask
What would you pay to ensure Iran doesn't get a nuclear bomb? What would
sir,
you pay?
I reclaim my time. Do you not know? You had no one do the analysis of what the increased cost of gas and food on the American people are going to be?
What is the cost of Iran holding that straight at issue with nuclear weapons?
It's $631 billion, which means it's an increase of $5,000 a year for American households. Now, let me give you this point. You're saying that your operation is preventing a nuclear Iran. Will you acknowledge that there is an economic cost to the American people for doing what you believe is necessary to make Iran denuclear? Will you acknowledge the economic cost?
We have an incredible economic team that's managing this better than
but
what the previous administration did to our economy, what the previous administration did with inflation, what the previous administration did with COVID, and you're going to lecture this administration about the economy?
You know what is upsetting?
Incredible.
You didn't even do the analysis on how much it's costing the American people. It's one thing if you said, okay, it costs the American people $5,000, but we think it's worth it. That's what we've done in World War II and other wars. Here's what it costs. You got to pay for it. You don't even know what the average American is paying. You don't know what we paid in terms of the missiles that hit the Iranian school. You don't know what we're paying in terms of gas. You don't know what we're paying in terms of food. Your 25 billion number is totally off. It's the incompetence. It's the incompetence.
Whether it be the senseless war in Iran, gutting the VA and other veterans benefits programs, or a gaudy ballroom, the through line is clear, people. The Trump administration is using our tax dollars as its personal slush fund while ignoring the people they're supposed to be serving. And then can we talk about the absurdity of Pete Hegseth's answer there to Ro Khanna's questioning, particularly on him justifying this massive waste of taxpayer resources by saying, how much would you pay to prevent Iran from building a nuclear bomb? And he's saying, oh, this is a gotcha game. No, just answer the question. It's going to increase the cost for the American taxpayer, especially when you think about the cost of food and the cost of gas. All that is going up, and it's going to fall in the hands of the American taxpayers. Like, as Ro pointed out, you could have just said, yeah, it's going to cost, the American taxpayer X amount of money, but we feel it's worth it, because Iran is a threat to us, and we don't want them to have a nuclear weapon. So that's it. But he couldn't even do that. As Ro Khanna pointed out, it's incompetence, pure incompetence. And the people that are going to benefit the most from this war, the Trump administration, of course, they're going to benefit. Also, defense contractors, because we know how many weapons are being pumped out and produced like crazy for all this nonsense that we're involved in. The energy sector as well, when you think about all the gas prices and how high they're rising, renewable energy, because we're dealing with an energy crisis. And so there are a lot of people that are trying to move over to, green energy, so they're going to benefit. But again, it don't benefit the American people. It don't benefit the average man, average woman in America. Tell you that much.
Are you pro, tax the rich and give to the poor?
Yeah, I'd rather rich people pay into the system than people who need it. The system's supposed to provide for people in need.
But the rich people have worked for all their wealth, so why would they just be
So is
happy?
everyone else.
Half their money is taken from the rich and given to them. They haven't made that. It's given to them by the government.
And do you think that makes sense? If you make a bunch of money, you pay back to society? Talking about paying your fair share.
Well, yeah, I think everybody's fair share should be even.
That's ridiculous because we have to spend different amounts on cost of living.
I knew you'd say something along those lines.
Yeah.
I just don't think
because I really do care about my society. I really love this country. We're talking about providing basic services people need. Healthcare, education, childcare, sustaining families, ensuring that we have a good educational base. I think that those things are incredibly important. That's giving back to society. So again, conservatives say they love this country so much, say that they're so patriotic, but whenever the tax bill comes around, they act like they can't give back to society anymore.
Parker's perspective on taxes, which is a great one, by the way, where, the rich should have to pay more to taxes than somebody who is poor or somebody that is in the middle class. But his perspective is completely incongruent with MAGA's worldview and how our economic system is set up, because MAGA's worldview is to give the ultra-rich, the wealthy, tax breaks like never before, okay, where even though you're making an absurd amount of money, you don't have to pay that much in taxes. And sometimes you don't pay at all. But that's because of how our economic system is set up and the loopholes that are created for the rich. But it should be where the rich pay more in taxes than somebody who is making $50,000 a year or even $100,000 a year. But that's not how our system is set up.
Pretty wild that a tiny tax on tea started the revolution. And now we get the living daylights tax out of us, and nobody seems to. There's no revolution. I mean, you get taxed on what you own, you get taxed on what you buy, and you get taxed on what you own. And it's like, okay, this is taxes, and and then what does it get spent on? A bunch of the stuff it gets spent on you don't even agree with. So that's why we need to reduce the size of government. And just spend less money and, let the people keep a lot more of their hard-earned money.
So I was like, well, if I'm one person, why should I pay more taxes than that one person? And I think that's a valid question. And some would say because from each based on, that's communist thought, from each based on capability and to each based on need, right? But I also, even though I was a tax accountant, I had no idea that there were literally billionaires who were paying no tax, and that there were corporations that had billions in profit. I understand how you could have a huge profit and wipe out your whole profit using depreciation because you just reinvest in assets. And so you're creating $10 million in profit or 10 billion in profit. But if you turn around and spend that 10 billion buying a bunch more infrastructure under the current tax systems, it wasn't always this way, you could basically eliminate all of your tax liability. So now you're making $10 billion a year and you're paying zero tax. There's a bunch of companies that do that literally pay zero taxes, and individuals.
Listen, all these tax loopholes and shady tricks that ultra wealthy people and corporations pull, they aren't glitches or bugs in the system. They are key features in upholding the system the way it is and keeping the people with power in power. Again, none of this is by accident. Okay, if you thought it was, wake up. It's all done intentionally to keep a certain class of people where they are, above everybody else, while the rest of us continue in this rat race trying to make something out of our lives, trying to maybe reach that status or get close to that status, but ultimately it's not going to happen because of the way our system is set up. It's not set up to help the average person, definitely not set up to help the poor person. It's designed to keep us in the positions where we are in, and those in power stay in power. Rebel HQ, I'm Chris Williamson. We'll see you next time.